Hey crafty friends, this is Chelsea. Today I'm so excited to be finally working with the Change of Scenery collection from Close to My Heart. So this was a special that came out for National Scrapbook Day. There is an event going on May 5th and 6th on the Close to My Heart Facebook page, and there's 5 different kits for cards and layouts and a mini album. And this one immediately caught my eye because I knew I had pictures from our trip to the mountains last summer. It was sadly cut short, so I don't have as many pictures as I wanted to have, but I probably have at least enough for a couple of layouts. So this collection is just beautiful to document all your outdoor, hiking, adventure type photos. Love all these stickers and like the phrase and word stickers. Some nice greenery. So this kit is available right now and kind of while supplies last until the end of May, I believe. So it has this gorgeous kind of scenery piece, and I know sometimes these can be intimidating. I have no problem using these just as a full piece, like going ahead, taking my photos and just putting them right on the background and using that as my background paper. But today I'm going to be following the Creative Scrapbooker April sketch, and I'm going to actually cut this up. So hopefully it'll give you an idea for another way to use this paper. The back side of this sheet is this gorgeous soft cloud pattern, which is just a beautiful background for all kinds of things. Makes me think of like a beautiful summer day. And then we have this beautiful burlap texture, super versatile, and same with this dark green. Super subtle pattern. It can be used for so many things. And this piece actually echoes some of the stamps that are on the stamp set that I'll show you in a second. And then these really pretty watercolor stamps. I kind of want to cut these out and add them to clusters. That's what it makes me think of. Now, there's not just paper in this collection. There's also some other embellishments, and there's a stamp set. So we have these cardstock kind of laser cut pieces. So there's tree borders, there's kind of a vine border, there's dew. There's part of the title pieces in here are Go See Dew, and they're all out of different materials. Some leaves, hearts, arrows, kind of those generic shapes that you could use for anything. This one is printed paperboard that has that wood grain texture printed on it. I love the paperboard embellishments because they're sturdy, but they're quite thin, so they're not going to add a whole bunch of bulk. So good titling options, more of those kind of generic embellishments that you could use for all sorts of things. This is kind of a textured green cardstock, and we have more titling options, some trees, all laser cut, so it's super easy to just pop right out of the backer sheet. And then the beautiful stamp set. So I love the words that are in here. And if you're a card maker or if you do layouts and cards, some of these scenery pieces would be really nice for building a scene on cards because they're not too big, but they will also work in nice for clusters and stamping on your scrapbook pages too. All right, so that's an overview of the collection. Let's go ahead and start cutting up some paper. All right, this is going to be a double page spread, so I've brought in my 2 Versamats to help me get everything down straight, and then 2 pieces of White Daisy cardstock as my base. Now the sketch that I'm looking at has kind of 3 chunks of paper, and it is a 1-page sketch, so I'm going to stretch it into 2 pages, and kind of has everything contained within the layout with a border around the outside, and I'm thinking I maybe want to have it go right across my 2 pages. So let's have a look at the paper. I'm thinking that I want to use this at the bottom. So I'll have to cut both pieces of this so that I can get the same kind of pattern. Unless I want to use this part. Just use like the lower part on the left page and the upper part on the right page. That could work. And then I really like this burlap or fabric pattern. And so I'm thinking I want to layer that one on next and then clouds at the top. So the middle piece is wider, with smaller strips at the top and the bottom. I thought this way I still representing kind of the ground at the bottom and the sky at the top, which would make more sense to my eye. All right, I'm going to start cutting my paper and then we'll see what we come up with. I've decided for my strips that I'm going to make them 11 inches. So I have a 1-inch border around the 3 sides. So this one is 2 by 11. And this one is 5 by 11 and then 3 by 11. And I'm going to make sure that the kind of blunt edge here is lined up. And then if they're not perfect, I can trim off whatever is extra on the inside edge. And then I just want to repeat this on the other page since these will be sitting side by side for a double page layout. And then my photos, I'm going to lay those out here. I have a mixture of 4x6 and 3x4 photos, and then also a mix of like scenery and pictures of me and my daughter. My husband was in meetings during this, so sadly, I don't have any pictures of him. All right, now I'm thinking that I definitely want mats, and I think the pine green color would be really nice. I could do white as well, but then I feel like maybe it's a lot of white because I have a very bold border around the outside. So let's see how this looks. I typically like to mat my photos. I know a lot of people don't necessarily mat their photos, but I like to. I think it helps them have a landing place. So I think the 4x6 here, I meant for it to stick out, above and below, but I want to make sure that these ones are lining up across since this is a very linear design. And this one is going to hang over the edge. I'm fine with that. That's actually the way it was shown in the sketch, so I think that will be just fine. Now, if you have a hard time deciding where your embellishments should go, I like to follow the triangle rule, so have like 3 clusters of embellishments. Sometimes that's different depending on the design, but I think it will work well for this page. But when you're planning things out and trying to decide where they're going to go, if you have like little scrap pieces of paper or maybe like sticky notes or something, you can lay those down in an area and have that as your marker of embellishments. So I think I'm going to want embellishments up over here. Over here, I like the diagonal like that. And then I also want to have a 3rd point. And I'm thinking my journaling is going to go up here. So then I maybe want a small little assortment of embellishments there. And then that gives me a triangle design as well. I do have to figure out where my title is going. If I want to put it down here or if I want to put my title right here and kind of have the embellishment going kind of over the top part of this photo, that would work well too. I'm trying not to cover up this one too much because I really love that pattern paper. So I'm trying to balance with, not having too much over top of that. All right, I'll just take those off because I kind of have a plan now of where I want everything to go. And then it's a matter of deciding what. So I'm going to see if I can work in some of the stamps. It might be tricky because it's hard to stamp on like layers of paper like this. So I might have to stamp and cut them out, or I might just stick with the stickers. There's a lot of really great options. I haven't really used any of this yet. So I'm going to start playing around with some placement and see if I can figure out what looks good. I know I want to use this large tree sticker. I like how big it is, and it's going to overlap onto the white, just like my photo is overlapping on my left-hand page. And I thought that would look nice and create some good balance. This nice circle element of this log slice, that's where I'm going to put my journaling, and I like how it breaks up all the linear elements on this page. I think I want to build out this cluster a little bit more, so I'm just going to tuck a couple of leaf stickers under here. I switched it up so that they're not the same leaf, and then I also have this little piece from the die cuts, which is a different type of leaf. And I'm going to tuck that under there as well. I love the wood grain paperboard embellishment, so I'm going to bring in some paperboard hearts on this layout. And then over on my left page, I want to bring in some more trees, kind of echo the ones that are on the right-hand page. So I am going to tuck this one in behind that photo just to hide the tree trunk. And then there's no more of this style of tree on the sticker sheet, so I'm going to bring in the cardstock die cut one. And then my sticker says all smiles. I thought that was perfect to go with my photo, but I feel like I need something else to fill in this little corner. I love this title option from the sticker sheet. I'm going to try it over here on the right hand side. On the left, it's too small over there to fill in that little gap. This one could work here too if I want to add a different point of embellishment. Now I have the stamp set. I haven't used this anywhere yet. The Worth the Pause stamp is really pretty. And I just happen to have a nice empty spot on my photo. This would look really nice stamped on there, I think. It can be a little nerve-wracking to stamp on photos, so I'm going to leave that for right now and just keep embellishing. I love this little compass sticker. And then I have this word strip sticker from the sticker sheet that says "To the Mountains." And obviously we are at the mountains, so I thought that would go perfectly. I just want to tuck it underneath the end of that little compass. And then, of course, echo more of those wood grain printed hearts. And now I wanted to use these stamps somewhere. I wasn't sure where, but I thought, wouldn't these look good cut out and added into my clusters? I love the kind of painting that they have on them, and I really like the texture of the postage stamp. So I could just cut them out just straight around and have rectangles, but I think they would look better having all the little notches cut out so you actually see the texture of those edges. For fussy cutting, you definitely want to have a good pair of scissors. I have the Close to My Heart non-stick micro tip scissors, so they cut really nice. And I'm just cutting off all the little excess bits of paper first, kind of doing a straight cut. I could leave it like that and just use it on my page, but I want to cut out all those little divots in there to make it look like a stamp. So to do this, I'm just holding my scissors kind of open and straight, and I'm rotating my paper around through the blade to get this little scoop. It takes a little bit to kind of get a feel for it, but then you can go quite quickly and just cut all those little notches out of the stamps. Now don't worry, I'm not going to make you watch me cut out all of them, but I just wanted to show you by moving your paper that you could actually get some pretty quick little notches cut out there, and it's easier than trying to move your scissors around. I'm also going to have a lot of these poking out from behind things, so I kept that in mind because I don't want to have to cut more than I need to. So you can see that one right there is just a tiny little fragment. I didn't use a whole stamp, I just used a partial one. I'm going to add 2 to each of my clusters and kind of bulk up those clusters of embellishments. I'm so glad I'm finally able to document these photos from last year. We don't make it to the mountains very often. It's only 3 hours away, but both me and my husband really don't like driving very much anymore. So it's one of those things we just don't get there that much. I'm feeling like the bottom side of my photos are a little bit too plain. So I thought I would just try this out and see what I think of having this little sticker from the sticker sheet and a couple more of those little stamps. Not really a full-on embellishment cluster, but just a little something so that the bottom looks a little bit more balanced with the top of the page. Okay, moment of truth. I'm going to go ahead and stamp my title right onto my photo. I just love the way it looks to stamp on photos. So first step is to put foam under there so I get a good impression. Second step is I'm using Archival ink, and these are a pearl finish photo, which means that it will absorb that ink really well. It's not super slick. And I did season my stamp. I did test stamp on a scrap piece of paper before I went for it on my photo. And as you can see, I took my time and pressed down and let that ink kind of absorb into the photo. And I love the result. It looks beautiful, super crisp. You could get a similar look by printing right on your photo, like editing your photo with text. But I love how this turned out. I decided before I stuck everything down that I wanted to add a little bit more texture, so I took this to my sewing machine and used a zigzag stitch at the top and the bottom of the pattern papers and just added that line of stitching. Then I stuck everything down like how I showed you, and now you can see that close-up look. Most things are flat. I have thin foam tape on a couple of the embellishments, but most of them are just layered under each other. I hope you enjoyed this, and if you did, please hit the like button. It really helps out my channel, and hopefully you go and give this a try on your own. And also, I challenge you to try stamping on your photos. Once you do it, I think you'll never want to go back. It's just a really cool way to add more details to your pages. Thanks so much for watching. If you want to see more process videos, just click this playlist on the screen, and I will see you next time. Bye.